So what are wildlife corridors and why are they so important? Well, before I go into that, we need to look at how conservation of plant and animal life is generally taking place in some countries and some of the related issues this can create. So in some regions of a country, there might be pressure to develop a wild area of land, building a new town or factory, or even just a major road. But before planning permission is granted to drain the land, cut down the native plants and trees and start building, a study might be done into the impact this will actually have on the local wildlife. Potentially, this may in turn discover some rare deer or tree frog or whatever living in this parcel of land. As a result of the discovery, the government may then protect the land, stopping any development from taking place where the species is actually living. Often this means the developer won't entirely give up on the project, but instead try to reinstate the project somewhere close, but where the protected animal or plant actually isn't currently living. This in theory means a win for everyone, as the species is protected along with some other local wildlife in the area. The development still gets the project. However, of course, in reality, things aren't quite as simple as that. A single species is part of an interconnected habitat. In order for that particular species to survive, many other species not only need to just survive, but also thrive. And these might be other animals or plants, but it's interaction with all these individual species that are essential for the protected species survival. And a small area which is surrounded by human development and the associated general destruction or changes can happen to the local habitat, maybe result in some struggling of these creatures to survive. Now, some of the local species may need to migrate from one area to another as part of their natural life cycle, as well as needing to have a fairly large breeding population to choose mates from to avoid interbreeding. In addition, a reduction in the key predators may result in one species depleting the local food resources as their numbers temporarily grow too large for the local area to sustain. These general island-like issues can be reduced by decreasing the isolation of the local area by introducing or creating a wildlife corridor. A corridor can be a small strip of land matching the general ecosystem of the protected area, connecting it to another similar area of the same type of ecosystem, enabling plants and animals to move from one area to another via the corridor. The corridor itself doesn't actually have to be very wide for it to be effective joining these two areas together. The wider the corridor, the better, as it's possible for predators to set up ambush positions along a narrow corridor, reducing the effectiveness of the corridor. This won't stop the exchange of most plant or insect species between the two areas. The concept of a wildlife narrow corridor reaches extreme extent when, rather than being a natural corridor, instead it's a human artificial corridor in terms of a bridge or a tunnel underneath a road. When faced with the lethal nature of a fast-moving road, many animals would choose the relative safety of a bridge rather than a risky road crossing. Animals are also more likely to choose an artificial crossing if it's being disguised to look like the wildlife areas on either side of the road. So some of these nature's highways have been integrated in some new building developments, especially road projects. Not only are they good for the animals, they also reduce the number of vehicle collisions with an animal, which, whilst almost certain to be lethal to the animal, can be almost as dangerous for the humans involved. A deer or a similar large animal, when it's hit by a car, say travelling at 50 miles an hour, would normally make a substantial mess of the vehicle and any occupants before it actually dies. So an alternative route over or under a road for nature would appear to be money well spent. By connecting two areas of protected land with a wildlife corridor, you basically dramatically increase the effectiveness of the conservation areas and enable the wildlife to act in a more natural way as they move from one area to another, giving plants time to recover from being grazed and also being able to feed animals again next time they visit the location. Without any connection to any similar habitats, the plant and animals in a small area are basically doomed, even if the species is protected from human interference. Eventually some natural event will wipe them out without contact with another habitat. It won't be repopulated, become a regional desert with no diversity of plant or animal life living in that particular location.